Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Lisa's Love and Light. Happy Wednesday to everyone. How's everyone doing today? Well, I hope everyone is doing well, and I hope these videos are helping you and uplifting you. And please share them with people that you know who are going through trauma, trials, depression and grief, trauma. Please just share these videos with them because sometimes people don't like to talk about their problems and what they're going through. So just say to them, hey, I have some videos I just want to share with you. And in their spare time, when they're alone, they can watch and hear the messages. It's so important, people, because so much is going on in this world today. And a lot of it is not good. And people don't know where to turn. They don't know, how to get, through certain trials and tribulations and pain and etc. And I understand because I didn't know the same as well, you know, one day at a time, one step at a time. So, this channel, we're here to uplift, encourage, and help other people, and it helps me as well to keep going. Also, this is a no judgment zone. We don't come over here and criticize other people. We don't talk down on who people are, what they're not, and etc. We don't do that here on this channel. It's to build up, uplift, and help others. Um, Nothing ventured is nothing gained. So it's important to keep uplifting other people. Me, myself, even as I can remember as a teenager, I always embraced diversity. I like all types of different music except for rap music. I don't really care too much for that. But, I always embrace different things. I always had a desire to learn more about different cultures and ways of living and different foods and things like that. So I'm a very diverse person. I don't like a lot of prejudices and things of that nature because I find that to be toxicity. It's okay, people feel whatever they want to feel, but when they put those things into action against someone, it's just not okay. So we're here on this channel to uplift and not to tear apart. It's too much of that in the world already. So, with that being said, another thing I want to say before we get started in this topic of discussion today is that I am not a certified social worker or therapist of any kind. I want everyone to know that because I repeat this every video because I might have newcomers that come on to watch. And I'm not a therapist, I don't have a degree in that category. And I'm a person who is on here sharing personal experiences about grief, loss, and trauma. Especially a lot of losses in my family during the shutdown, and friends and dog and mother. And just 2 days ago, I just got a phone call um, finding out that a cousin of mine that I grew up with just passed away. And it's just hard, people. And I just, had to find some ways to get through this. Because if we don't get through this, this can affect our health, physical and mental. And without that, we can't do anything for ourselves or anybody else. So I also want to tell you guys that before I get on this channel, some people thought I researched things. I don't. What I do is I go into prayer. I do meditation, prayer. And today, what I did is I took the time to just sit in quiet time listening to music. I like instrumental music, a lot of Kenny G stuff from the 80s, besides, music from the 70s and 80s. And I just listen to that type of music because it's so soothing and peaceful and just sit in quiet time. And then I come up with things that I think would help you guys, that help me, and I sit and just think about things that happen and I just make an outline so that I can cover certain points because the things I cover here and the people who are listening, the audience that's listening, it may resonate with you. And perhaps you hear a point or two that you can apply in your current situation to help you as well. And that's what we're here to do. So, with that being said, let's get into this topic today. It is healing and learning lessons. That's what we're going to discuss today. Um, The universal law is do unto others as you want done unto you, you know? And that's universal, because it's important to hear that over and over and over again, because sometimes people might forget that, because some people can be self-absorbed. It's about what they want and they forget about other people. It's so important that we are not doing toxic things to people to hurt them, and especially people who haven't done anything to us, because what you put out there in the universe and what you manifest for others, especially other people who haven't done anything to you, simply because you don't like them, that's coming back to you, because there's no valid uh, reason for it. It's an injustice, as we have so many of those in this world today. Um, as you heal, from pain, grief, and inner child situations, um, you start to take accountability. I know I started to take accountability for any negative actions that I may have done in the past against another person. I look in the mirror, take accountability for that, apologize for it, and forgive myself so that I can move on. And that's part of what takes place as you start to stay on the journey to heal and you're consistent with it. And I learned to forgive myself. I gave an example about this probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 videos back, and I did it in another video as well. I'm not sure which one. You can go back and look. But I talked about my mother. And when my son was a child, he must have been about 5 years old. She used to come over every weekend, every Sunday, and she was so happy to see her grandson. She brought all these clothing and things. And one Saturday, she called me and said she was coming over and what she got for my son. And I asked her not to come. And she said she was coming anyway, and I didn't open the door. And I wish, that's one thing, people, that I wish I can go back in time and change, because I just didn't feel like being bothered. And it was not the right way to handle that. And I've asked for forgiveness, from God, from my mother. And then it took me a long time to forgive myself for that, and because of that one thing, I was making poor decisions in my life in the past, like impulsive ones, not thinking of things through, decisions that can affect my life moving forward. And I learned to forgive myself just recently for these things. And I had to do a lot of, which I do, weekly therapy for grief and looking at things and, things I didn't want to look at within myself, and addressing those things and then moving away from it. So taking accountability is one of the first steps, for me. And then forgiving everyone and forgiving myself. Because if I don't forgive, I can't move forward. Um, what I have learned so far from healing pain and grief is that what we manifest, whether it's for ourselves or for other people, if it's on a toxic level, that's what we're getting back. Now, if we're trying to manifest something good or for somebody else's life, wishing some negativity happen to them so that we can take something from them for ourselves, that's what you're going to get back in life. What you put out there in the universe will surely come back to you. And if you putting out negativity and hate and spewing out lies and viciousness against another person who's never done anything to you, simply because you don't like that person, you don't like their light irritates your demons, or, and that they are being their authentic self, and they don't march to the beat of the same drum that you do. So you want to ostracize them, put them out there, make them look stupid, dumb, and etc. And if this is what a person is investing in, and they are just doing this like a full-time job, working overtime at it, that is what you're going to get back. Especially with someone who's not bothering you, who's in their lane, investing in themselves, building themselves up. And just because you don't like them, because they walk a certain way, they talk a certain way, they look a certain way, they dress a certain way, And because it's different and it's not the traditional way that you know, so we're going to, bully this person. Yes, there is something called adult bullying. Because what happens, people, sometimes that these people that you went to school with when you were children that were bullying you and or bullying others in school, they grow up to be adult bullies, and then they bully in a different way, you know, cyberbullying, gossiping, lies, trying to set people up for failure and do all types of stuff just because they don't like you, and they're envious and jealous, and that's what they are going to attract within their own life. Now, if a person was doing something against them and they didn't want anything good for them or whatever, that's a different thing. But a person is in their lane, investing in themselves, building themselves up, and you come in, interfere in their lane to distract them, then what you put out is what you're going to get back, no doubt. And I just want to emphasize that point because that is so real. If we are hating on someone else, yeah, I just said that the person have never, because I have some notes here so I can cover certain points. When I learned to love myself on this journey, because I've been on it for a while and I'm still learning new things. When I learned to love myself, I made a decision, people, and a decision that I made which was a difficult one, and it took a long time to make this decision, was to cut off toxic individuals and haters out of my life. Because if I was being true to myself and I really wanted to stay on this path to heal and I wanted to see the positive results, I had to cut off haters out of my life and people who are toxic. And when I talk about toxicity, I talk about people who love the gossip, who love drama. They love, bringing negativity to somebody's door, conflict, all the negatives, and all those things. Like I said, that's something you watch on a drama show or a reality. It doesn't belong in everyday life. And once I grew stronger in who I am today, I started cutting off, blocking, and deleting people from my life. First, I would have conversations, because my therapist had always said to me, he doesn't say a lot when I go, because in the beginning, I would be mad and talking about this person did that, she, he, blah, blah, whatever, and et cetera, and so forth. And after I finished and calmed down, he would say to me, Lisa, set boundaries. Set boundaries. He would repeat that. And then I started to actually do the work to set these boundaries. And then how I started was to have conversations with folks. And when people didn't like these boundaries and they started, saying whatever, well, this is how it's going to be. And, what would happen with a few of these folks, they would cross those boundaries. And I would remind them again, I set these boundaries because A, B, C, and D. And they continue. I'm not going to keep having 4 and 5 and 6 conversations with adults. I have a little bit more patience with children because they still in that stage of growth and learning. We all learn every day, but with adults, they should know better. That means if they keep crossing boundaries, they don't give a damn. And that's not okay either. It's toxic. And so when that was happening, I would say, okay, they're going to keep doing this and crossing boundaries, cut off, block, and delete. And that's it. And I started cutting people off left and right, just cut off, block, because I'm not putting up with it, because it's interfering with me investing in my healing and my growth, and nothing can interfere with that, because that has to be a priority, especially with everything that I've gone through. And, and I was so subservient to other people in the past, and they wanted me to still be that old Lisa Vaughn to them, because I have been doing it for half of my life. And as I started to heal and learn that this is not okay, that I'm important too, I start to self-love. And then I just had the courage, to just say, hey, this is not working, and I'm not doing that anymore. And they didn't like it. They felt some kind of way about it. Some of these haters became enraged, And what they started doing behind the scenes, God sat me down and showed me, they started a hate campaign against me, you know. And some of these haters called the police and filed false reports on me, saying I was doing the most and the worst things I would never do. Had cops following me to see what I was doing and where I was going. And half the times I was at work, and they just kept calling and filing false reports, just doing the most and the worst, you know. And others were slandering my name by saying things that I would never do, and others were sending me fake scam emails, so that, and these emails they were sending, they started to get um smart with them. But because I've gone through all of what they were doing before, and I had to go through it a few times before I learned the lesson. Once I learned the lesson, that's it. But the lessons sometimes come back to see if you're going to do it again. It's like a test. They were sending me emails, scam emails, because I'm a writer too, and I write books and stuff that are published. And they were sending me emails that they wanted to purchase my book, and we're going to, buy the rights of it and blah, blah, this and that. And what it was, because I have an attorney for everything I do, and my attorney reviewed these emails, told me not to do it, and I listened to the attorney. Because what it is, these scams, people, and I want to share this with someone, because be careful. And it doesn't even have to be a situation where you're a writer, just with anything. Just research things before you just impulsively make a wrong decision, because it could lead to many problems that you don't need and want in your life. Because if I would have, let me give an example using myself, would have signed up for this, they would have gave me a fake check saying that they bought the rights of my book, and I go and deposit that fake check, and I get arrested. That's the kind of thing that they were behind the scenes trying to do. But I go to God with everything in prayer. I go to the attorneys, talk about the email and what they were saying, but they skipped some steps, in that process. And the attorney broke it down to me step by step what was going on here. And now, I tell them no, because I don't make impulsive decisions. The old Lisa would have said, oh, wow, yes, let's do this, sign a contract, blah, blah. And they had a contract already developing for me to sign, but it was fake, because they would have, and they could have stole money from somebody else's account and gave me a bad check or whatever, and I could have gotten arrested for it. And I don't do business like that anymore. I take my time, find out, have the attorneys that I have to look at it. And if it's not okay, then I don't do it. And then what I do, because these people are calling me as well, I just block their number, delete the email and keep moving forward. And I ask God to help me as I take that step, and I keep going. I'm very consistent, and I may not do things the same time every day, because time management, I have a lot going on, but I am consistent in investing in myself, my mental and physical health, and doing what I need to for myself. And as I do that, and I take those steps, God helps me. And I ask God to help me, because all these things these people were doing, they were trying to close down my small business, like a community of people were doing this. And I just recently, not too long ago, found out about these things. And, people following these, gang stalking, doing a whole bunch of stuff because they don't like who I am. And, these negative stereotypes that they were trying to attach to me, which is it's not who I am at all, just because they don't like who I am, because I don't do things in a traditional manner, and I don't do things the way they do it. Well, I'm my own individual person, as long as I'm not stepping on toes or hurting other people, or setting people up for failure. So what? We all are different in some way. Some of us are the same with certain things, but we're different. I'm not a religious person. I am a person who have a deep relationship with God. I don't have to be religious to have a relationship with God. And he's showing me that, because his actions on what he's doing as I take these steps, he's helping me. He's lifting my life up, because the where I was 3 years ago, there was no way I was coming back from that, guys, if God did not come and help me. I made a vow. I made a few vows to God. I don't play with God, and I intend to keep them. And I asked for his help. I wasn't afraid to ask for his help after I was angry for a while. But I had to be sat down to see, God had to show me who I had in my life, that these people are not really your friends, whether it's family and partners or whatever. They were doing the most and the worst to me behind the scenes that I couldn't see because they were wearing this mask. And once I had confirmation of what was going on, and then I put myself into therapy, because they showed me they wasn't there for me. Everything was falling apart. And they were like, oh, okay, sorry to hear that. And I talked about that lifeline in one of the prior videos. It's like seeing somebody in the water and they're drowning and they're asking for help and they keep going under, come back up. One time, if that keeps happening, they're going to go down for the last time, and the person's sitting there watching. And they can throw them a lifeline to help save them, but they won't, because they want to see these negative things happen to them. Those are the type of individuals I had around me, and I had to cut off, block, and delete. And some of them will still try to come back by making fake profiles and saying, hey, girl, but because I've gone through this over and over. Remember, guys, I talked about if we don't learn lessons, you're going to repeat them. They come back in a different shape and form, but they are the same lessons. And after doing that a few times, those lessons come back, they're worse than ever. I don't want that. So I learned them quickly. And so now I can see what they are, even in a fake profile, because I look for specifics. Or, a person who's doing these setups, they don't change very much. They say things in a specific way and do things. And I look at it and say, this is ridiculous. I don't even respond to it. I read it and then I delete them. And this is what they were doing to me behind the scene. And I didn't deserve any of it because I never done anything to these people. Many of them I've helped and was very generous to them and gave my time and attention to. But that didn't matter. They wanted to see me fall. But God raised me up. And I took him by the hand and asked him to help me. And I'm sharing this story because whoever's listening, somebody needs to, or a few somebodies need to hear this message, because they may be currently going through this as they made a decision to get on this journey to heal their pain and to invest in themselves. Because when you start investing in you and redirecting the focus to yourself instead of these folks, some of them get mad. Yeah, I'm going to show you, I'm going to knock you off that high horse that you on kind of attitude and energy. But I'm not on any high horse. I'm really healing and investing in me. We're supposed to invest in our physical and mental health, because without that, we can't do anything for ourselves or anybody else. And so we have to make that a priority. And what I do, everything I do, I give to God. I've made vows. One of the vows that I made to God, after I cried about, after I had the confirmation of what was going on and cried about it for a while, here's what I decided to do. I took the matter to God in prayer and made some vows. Excuse me. And then after making these vows to God, I learned how to go into prayer, meditate, and transmute all this toxicity and negative energy they were throwing my way and the stuff they were doing behind the scene. And I gave it to God. And I said, God, if you deal with this, and I made vows and I keep those vows. I don't play with God. And you deal with this and you do what's necessary in this situation, I'm going to continue to invest in my growth and my healing and do my best. And I'm going to keep taking steps. I don't know how that's going to go, but I'm going to keep moving forward. And one of the vows that I made to God is that I would never give up in investing in myself or give in to these haters. Believe me, as I continue to move forward, God is doing the rest. He's taking care of it. He has shown me time and time and time again that he's handling those situations behind the scene, because I've seen evidence of what's happening. He will do this for you as well. If you trust God and keep investing in yourself and be consistent. And it doesn't have to be every day. Remember that we're human and we're going to fall. But if you get up and keep going and don't give in and give up on yourself, then and ask God to help you, and you're not behind the scenes creating disaster for anyone else, I promise you guys, God will help you. If your intentions are pure and you're not behind the scenes hating on somebody trying to set them up for failure, God will help you. And I promise you that, because I've been doing this for over 3 years now. My life has gotten better. Instead of being in pieces, I'm at peace instead of being in pieces. They want to see me broken down, busted, and disgusted, but God want to see me being raised up, elevating me, and helping me as I help myself. He's not going to help us if we sit and ask him for things, but we're not working towards those things. We're just sitting back waiting for it to happen. God help those who help themselves and who, are on a mission to help other people, not hurt people. Hurt people who refuse to heal will hurt other people. And they will continue to do that if they stay on that path of toxicity. It leads to nothing good. And people who want to keep doing that, many of them are narcissists. They love to see people in pain and hurt, and I'm going to knock you down kind of energy. Well, I'm going to transmute and go into prayer and meditation with God and give it to him, because nothing is going to take me off this path where I take attention away from investing in myself to give to these haters. So God got this. And when God got it, if God is for us, who can be against us? They can send 1,000 people. When that energy is transmuted to God and in prayer, and you know how to do that, as you move forward, God will do the rest. And if they think they're coming against God, they are in a deep illusion. So this is how I do things, some of how I do things. And I make sure I don't let toxicity back in the door. There is no reconciling. And guys, that's why I talk a lot and I go on and on and on with folks for a minute, because I know myself, and I know that after I'm talked out, I'm making my exit. I'm out the door. I'm not going to keep putting up with toxic people and situations, because people are adults and there's no reason to keep telling somebody something over and over and over again. It's just like an abuser. Oh, baby, I'm sorry, blah, blah, buying you flowers, gift after beating the crap out of you. And then you take them back, him or her, whatever, the situation may be. And they good for a minute and they go back to the abusive ways. And it happens over and over again. And the more you take them back, the worse it gets, because the lesson is not being learned. And for myself, I had to stop doing this. I had a narcissist in my life, like I talked about, for 10 years. And then one day it came to an end. At least I am today. I'm not putting up with any of it. I will have a couple of conversations, and if it continues, whether it's a romantic setting, a family setting, or a business setting, I'm not going to keep talking and talking and talking, because I'm just going to up and exit. I don't have time for it. And people think it's a joke until they see, oh shit, she's really leaving. Now I don't play and I don't have to act out a character. I'm a woman, and I love everything about being a woman. I'm not going to put myself through that, especially after healing toxicity. I'm going to have conversations like an adult. And if they, dismiss it like it's nothing, then they're crossing and stepping over these boundaries. And I'm saying that, okay, they don't have any intentions to do the right thing. So I'm going to make my exit, leave them where they at and move on and stay on this path and journey to heal. That's important. We have to take care of ourselves and make it a priority. Never allow anyone to tell you that you're being self-absorbed and conceited or any of that stuff. We are supposed to take care of ourselves. We are supposed to love ourselves. As we love ourselves and grow, we do better. We want to take care of our physical and mental health, and then we can take care of everything else around us. And that's how this should be. Please share this message with other people, because some people need to hear it. It's going to resonate with many, and it may not resonate today with others. But I promise you, all these videos I do, one topic or another will resonate with someone who needs to hear the message. And please, the first, step is please, whatever area you live in, Google a therapist, a grief therapist, and sit and talk with one and see which one you vibe with and continue. That's the first step. It's like, again, I'm going to say this before I leave. It's like having a box of pieces of puzzle. You don't know what the picture is until you start putting the pieces of the puzzle together. You may not know where to start, but you just start, anywhere, and you just get it started. And then as you continue and be consistent, you start to see what the picture is. Oh, it could be a picture of two deers, it could be trees, a house, whatever. But as you start to put the pieces together, it starts to come together. That is the message today. Share this video with others. I will be back tomorrow. I can't vacation to let you know when I'm live. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. Continue to fight and crawl through the process. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. This is Lisa, shedding love and light and encouragement always. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye for now.